What is up, everybody? And then we will talk. 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 Tuesday, you're an idiot. Maybe we're gonna go live, right? Pale Rider TV just put out his video, which I watched, by the way. I am not chilling out Joplin, because if I was, I'd be washing my truck. Which brings me to what I'm going to talk about tonight. Let's see here. Daniel Adami is first, even though he didn't say that until the second. Pale Rider TV Trucking, how are you, sir? Big Houston. TJ Jones says not at all. Ratman's the fourth first. John Capone, what's up? Donnie Luke. You're failing at shaving. That is true, old fat white guy. Big little truck. Good evening, Snorlord. Raining in Missouri, and I drink all your chocolate milk at your house. Good deal. Don't need that carbolicious stuff anyways. SRO, yo ho ho, what's up? Is that the SRO? Did you change your name? Dana Ladami, this is from YouTube. Ralph Floto, good evening. Jonathan Wheeler. So I appreciate that, Daniel. I don't know why you're giving me $2, but that's very nice of you. I hope you are living off of ramen so you can afford that $2, because sometimes that's what it takes to be a business owner. Which brings me to what my next topic is. Provost Motorsport. It says fail. So I'm sitting Light Bright, Fat Pat, Air Vaquero, failing to get notifications right, failure to think about the fact that Monday Night Football is going to be on, and a couple other people usually go live at this time too. Why do I ask that question? Am I failing? Okay. Top ramen and canned corn. Ugh. It just makes my gut hurt just thinking about that. We're all failing, right? So I'm sitting here in my truck, and I lost a day because I could not connect with anything after I delivered this morning. Thought I was going to. The DAT board looked pretty plentiful, but then what a lot of it was that there were like 3 or 4 main shippers in the area that were shopping out their loads. So you literally had like 4 brokers on their one load, and I kind of recognize that because as some of the brokers I recognize as 3PL Star. So, and I would call on these loads, and they were literally like 385 miles for $400, stuff like that for bricks. I guess bricks are cheap because any place that I've ever called on brick loads, they're cheap. If it's not like Menards to Menards, but outside of that, and the click and goes that usually have stuff in this area were like barren, and I've been keeping an eye on them for the last 3 days, and then called my usual broker, and we couldn't connect on some pricing, right? So finally I picked the lesser 2 evils so I can be moving, but the best I can get was something that picked up 70 miles away tomorrow. And the kicker is it doesn't deliver till late tomorrow, or late Wednesday. So it seems like I have a really good week. Comes out to the same. I can't get above this threshold, right? And it bums me out a little bit. But here's... Let's see if you guys can see this. You guys run Oklahoma. You've seen these Farmer Oil trucks, right? A lot of people don't realize those are company trucks. That is not an owner-operator. That is a company driver. I should do a truck stop walk, man. There's some really nice trucks in this planet. Now, here's what sparks this conversation, okay? This flatbed, right, man? This flatbed, right? And this guy's doing a full-blown post-trip inspection, thumping the tires, checking his tarp job, checking his security, and someone texted me. It's a notification. So, sorry, I keep getting distracted. I know that's annoying. So, and I'm looking at this truck and I'm thinking, man, this thing looks brand new. The headache rack looks brand new. The airlines that go up to the frame, I mean, this thing is immaculate. I was like, you know, is the paint still drying on that truck, right? And he's like, no, it's got 600,000 miles on it. And so he explained why he had to replace all the airlines on the frame, and then as I was looking closer, then I saw a bit of rust on the frame or whatever. But and this guy was so meticulous. He was picking leaves out of his headache rack, and he was wiping something off, and then he has one of those Dish Network, you know, big globe things on the top of his truck. He was, oh man, that's dirty, and he was wiping it off, you know. And it's not like it's old polished, like he's not going overboard, but it's just clean, right? And this guy is ex-military, stopped out his military service, physically fit. And here's the kicker, though. A lot of people are like, oh, you can't wear sweatpants and Crocs, you know, you're not a true owner operator. Well, this guy's a true owner operator, doing very well, and he was wearing Crocs, physically fit, you know, he's one of those guys. He runs, right? He was telling me a few things, you know, we talked, he was at Landstar for a minute, so we were talking about that. And it really kind of got me thinking, because now I'm sitting here kind of ashamed of my truck, because my truck looks every bit of 600,000 miles, right? Especially now, because, you know, I haven't been able to wash it since the winter storm last week. And I think that when I have to Joplin tomorrow, hopefully I'll have time to get it washed, which I should. Of course, you know, now it'll rain now that I've said that. You know, Pale Rider's like, no, don't say that, you know. But it just kind of got me thinking, you know, here I am with a Gap, and this guy's telling me he wasn't bragging about his money. He was basically talking about some of the hardships he's faced, you know. And it just kind of makes me feel like, man, I got so much to work on, and I'm gonna point out a meme to you guys. Not really a meme, it's saying that a friend of mine from Facebook said. Pride is a dangerous trap. If we think we understand everything, we understand nothing. That was quoted by Shannon Sosaby out of California. Somebody that knew me back in the old band days, right? And you know, there's also a really nice W9 with a stainless steel trailer, you know, and it's like, you know, got the Farmer's Oil, you know, which I understand. I know how the Farmer's Oil truck look nice because the freight that they pull. And then, you know, there's a truck across from me that's really nice. I've seen him before, you know, and it's like, and while he can't go completely by looks, the guy that I talked to, whose truck looks almost brand new, even though it's 600,000 miles, you know, just kind of makes it, you know, there's a lot of work that I need to do. And so, let me rephrase that. There are mistakes. I'm not going to say a lot. I'm not going to say a little, but there are mistakes that I've made. On organization and management. You know, and that's why I always say, you know, these people that gripe about, oh, Schneider micromanages you, you know. Sometimes you need to be micromanaged, because if you're not micromanaging your own business, no one's going to do it for you, right? And Every business, I don't care what it is, every business goes through a red period. You know, there's a lot of retail outfits that don't start being in the black until, you know, Christmas time. And so when I come across another owner operator that seems to have his act together, it kind of, it's cool that these people talk to me. It's cool that I can learn from these people, but it also kind of bums me out. Like, you know, I've been doing this for 5 years. I should be, I don't know, further along, better off. Farmers Oil is a family member of my boss. Am I in a bad area? Or are we buffering? Nothing takes the wind out of my sail like knowing that I'm buffering. Let's go with wow, you guys been really chatting. Red River Bandit, what's up? Provost, how's racing season this year? Okay, so let's go with some comments here, guys. I just had Top Ramen 2, LOL. Luke, I couldn't connect either. Things went south at the Star, back to local, says John. Oh, wow, that's a shame, John. But I don't doubt what you just said. Something, what's up? What irrigation, Thomas Wilson? Special, yeah, I already read that. Were you able to clearly communicate with the multiple brokered loads agents? Oh, I know. Red River, I know what you're saying. I never even called on them because one of those third-party agents said 400 firm. You know, and when they put firm on the DAT board, when they put firm, that means they're setting the anchor and they don't care if that load moves, because this third-party agent, it doesn't matter if that load moves or not, because it's no hair off his back or her back, whatever. And that was one of the problems that I saw at the Blue Star, was that you had people in control of the money that had absolutely no skin in the game. Farmer Oil is a great company, I bet. Michael Dow. Sometimes it's hard for me. I get what you're saying, Red Bandit. Farmer Oil and Court Oil trucks are top notch. Yes, they are. And they had a truck one time at the Joplin truck show where you can actually get inside the tank. They had like an open tank that they customized. Well, you're not the only one going through that. I've noticed rates have dropped 20%. Well, Jose, you know what's interesting is the last 3 loads the rate's been really good, 20% higher. And coming out of Oklahoma is I'm seeing the numbers I expect to see. It wasn't like I was on this delusion of grandeur. Oh, I'm going to get $2 a mile out of Oklahoma. I know that for a fact. And I was willing to deadhead all the way up to Joplin to grab something from Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Fort Smith, Pryor, Muskogee, all of that. And the problem is I didn't book ahead because I got caught up in that chance to get on the low board, because by the time I got loaded in Mobile, it was 5 o'clock. And I had to roll. And of course, you know, I'm dealing with traffic and side roads and everything else. And, you know, you can't be looking at your phone, looking at a low board, you know, during that time. You know, that's against the law. And it's one of the challenges of self-dispatch, a challenge that I willingly accept. But you got to know that if you don't book ahead, or you're not on a 2 or 3 or 4 day run, you know, how else are you going to look for loads? You got to think about that. And, you know, and that's, and I booked ahead. And a lot of it was me not being greedy, but trying to stand my ground on some of the rates. There was one that I would have taken for the rate that they wanted it for, going directly to Springfield. Not that I'm trying to get home, but I can get out of Springfield pretty easily. But it was 3 stops, and I knew what it was. and it was not worth the money that they were paying. Multiple stops means I should be getting a premium rate, and they weren't willing to pay that. And that was one of the loads that was being shopped by 5 different brokers. So what I thought was 130 loads out of a certain area was actually 30 because of that. You're right, Everquero. Next gen, your truck is still new till $1.5 million, right? Truck Review Channel. And I understand. Look, don't take this as poor, pitiful me. My truck's. I love my truck. I really do. Okay. I am proud of this truck. I wish I could get the wheels polished on it because they're dull. They're very dull. And it's going to need new tires soon. It's there are things coming down the line, and I don't really run this truck that hard. I really don't, and that's part of the problem too. You got guys that are literally going in circles around me, and I'm always trying to find that balance of money and home time, and I'm trying to run hard because I have to be home by Thanksgiving to do that 5K, which I promised my wife and kids to do. And then I need to be home for December 12th for something extremely important, which those of you who talk to me privately know what I'm talking about. And it's not like I'm not making moves, right? As far as like my personal investments and stuff like that. And I knew what I was getting into. It wasn't like some of these guys got in the spot market and had absolutely no clue what they were going to get into. I kind of did. But with that being said, I still fell under human nature and didn't work hard enough. And so now the difference between me and a lot of these people that run circles, they're the ones that are making twice as much as me because they're running twice as hard. Now, do I want to run as hard as they do? No. Am I a hard runner? No. I've always been every other weekend, even when I was a company driver. I've never been that guy to stay out a month at a time. I've stayed out a month 3 times in my career out of 10 years. And that was, 2 of them was by choice, and the other one was out of necessity. When I went from Landstar to Schneider, I had to stay out a month to make up for lost time because I had completely taken December off, and I had to run hard to make sure all the bills were paid for the truck and the business, and which I did. And Schneider made that really easy. Personal growth is important. You are absolutely correct, brother. Never compare yourself to others. Right, man. I'm not really comparing myself to this guy. I don't know. Maybe that's a lie. Maybe I kind of am, but you kind of have to. It's human nature to look at someone and go, man, I need to be like that. Like, I watched Jeff on how smooth he does all the business stuff, right? And you got to realize he's been an entrepreneur for years, long time. Even before a lot of this stuff comes easy to him, and so I strive to be like that. If I ever have my own authority, I want to be as streamlined as him, and I see somebody like a good content creator, and I want to strive to be like that person, and I can say, well, I don't have the right camera, I don't have the right this, and I try to have a good camera. No, you can't make good videos because you're a crappy editor and you're not doing something interesting, Steve. That's why, So, and I sound harder on myself than I really am. It's kind of a ruse a little bit, but I have to be like that because I don't want to be complacent. Because that's what's got me in trouble in everything in life, everything, and you can't take things for granted. And this guy, it kind of gives me something to strive for. It's like, wow, I hope when my truck reaches 600,000 miles, which is like probably by the end of December, I want my truck to be that good looking. This guy obviously has his act together, And this morning at the truck stop I was staying at there in Okima, Oklahoma, or is it pronounced Okima or Okima? Either way, maybe comment how it's spelled or sound. Pulling a pretty fairly nice dry-man trailer. And I was tempted, I was like, if that dude parks, I'm going to go up and talk to him because I want to learn from this guy. It's like, how do you make this package work? Because his truck and trailer are probably worth 3 times of my truck and trailer, right? Maybe it's a ruse. Maybe he's more in debt than I am. Maybe he's a slave to that truck, or maybe he's been doing it for 30 years. And that's his 4th truck, and he was able to get the equity lined out to where he just bought the truck and trailer cash. Maybe he has dedicated customers or government contracts or whatever. There's a whole number of things, and I want to learn from everybody that has their act together or seems to have their act together. And so when I have a conversation with the driver, that like the one that's parked next to me, I don't sit there like, man, I'm lame, even though that's what the title implies. And there's a part of me that maybe says that a little bit, but it also makes me like, I had a friend of mine, he goes, well, if you're wearing a truck, just replace it. He starts sending me, trucks on truck paper and stuff. I'm like, look, I don't want to buy a new truck. I'm not in any position to buy a new truck. I mean, I can go out and get a new truck, no money down tomorrow, but that doesn't solve my problems. I need to get my act like that, and I don't, Roscoe has a good valid point. If the truck's running good, you don't have to trade these in every 2 to 4 years. I mean, look at Truck and Review Channel. He's got that big ARI sleeper. You think they're going to trade that in when that truck hits 400,000 miles? No. That's a truck that you rebuild. That's a truck that you preserve to have forever. Truck for Life, what's up? I think you're right, Mr. Steve. Some people need micromanaging, then some, says Red River. You have to do your own. You have to do you. Don't worry about others. You can tell me what to do, Scott. Tracy H. Fail at Wi-Fi. LOL joke. What's up, brother? Your internet is failing. You're doing great. Don't compare the other guy. Maybe up to his eyeballs at home and truck bills. Okima is not the mecca for freight, so don't beat yourself up. Air Recorder, I'm not really beating myself up. As far as the signal issues, I think YouTube screwed up because James was having issues when I was watching him. And then there was another video I was watching that had issues, and that was in a different area. So, and I'm literally in a big city right now, so I just YouTube being stupid. We were getting agents from Bosnia, Pakistan, and other places. Are you seeing this as a trend, or was it just Landstar? John, that was a trend at Landstar 4 years ago. I remember there was a lady I called on a hazmat load. But I called on her, hey, I'm looking at your load, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, you need placards. Like, excuse me? Placards, hazmat. Well, what about it? Yeah, it's hazmat, right? Yes, you need placards. I'm like, no, the shipper's supposed to supply placards. No, you supply placards. I mean, and we didn't even negotiate a rate at this point. I'm like, have a nice day. Click, And and then you wonder why Landstar was close to losing their hazmat ability back then. But that's a third party agent for you. We call them pajama agents because they literally are just picking stuff off of low boards and putting on the Landstar low boards. So that means the rate is cut even more. So and I was explaining this to Trucker's Table. So what's $1,000 to me might be just $600 to him because the agent's got to get their cut, and then, Landstar's taking 35, whereas Jeff's only grabbing 20. So, Now, I know people are doing very well with them. And so, just like any big brokerage, whether it be CH, Coyote, Convoy, TQL, all these big brokerages, Landstar is among those, right? And, and some of them are direct, some of them are third party, and, they're good and bad. In the choices that we have to who we work with, that is a huge, if there's a brokerage I refuse to work with, I refuse to work with them. If you can establish relationships to where you're not even on a load board, that works too. It's just, there are certain loads that I wouldn't take with the mom and pop broker that I would with my main broker, because I know that load would have detention. And certain brokers, you fight for detention, others you don't. And that's huge. When you have, the 2 hours here, 2 hours there is not a big deal. But when you have like the loads like I had the other day, where I had, 5 hours detention, that adds up. That made a $500 day, a $700 day, and there are some loads that you look at and the rate con says, you can't, if you ask for detention and it doesn't happen, then we fine you $150 for even trying. And then customer may take 4 to 6 weeks to approve that detention. So that means on that load, we got to sit on it. And, if you have your own authority, you got to sit on that load. So, until the detention is approved and you get the new rate con. Is that a sexy beard? That's a sexy beard. Every time I see a new Pete, I think there is a broke dude going out of business soon. Says Provost. Can I fool a flatbed? No, I've never. I'm that guy that's losing stuff out of his pickup truck on the interstate. I'm that guy. Yeah, Thomas Wilson is a secret agent, man. I worry about booking ahead in the winter months. Yeah, but weather's a different story, though. But I get you. I didn't book my Tuesday load last week because I knew I was going to be shut down in that snowstorm on Monday. I knew that, so I didn't want to have to call 3 brokers well, I can't do your loads because weather. And in Landstar, you definitely want to watch that, because if you become blacklisted with the agents, it makes it real hard to negotiate and get loads booked to them. Who gave me $20? Jim Bot, keep working the plan. Can't compare yourself with other truckers. Right. And, it goes back to what Chucky told me. Have the blinders on. He has a bigger truck wash budget than I do. And I don't have good luck with truck washes. One truck wash probably influenced my truck fire. And another truck wash cracked my windshield. And another truck wash scratched my hood, which I did a video about that. So I always get kind of nervous when I wash my truck. But you got to get the salt off. Even if you hate your truck, you want to get the salt off, And I want to take pride in my truck. I don't want to show up with duct tape and look like the truck has been washed in 4 years and the customer's like, These loads you see posted duplicate times is usually one third party undercutting each other and think we're pretty high. Right. And that was one of the reasons why I couldn't stay at Landstar. Dice Man, what's up? Make your son polish the wheels. Hey boy, I put food on. I hear you. I always try to be home for the holidays. Thanksgiving is kind of a weird. Yep, there's the person going live that I knew would go live. Thanksgiving is usually a pretty good holiday for us on that day. The problem with November is all my family's birthdays and holidays are on that month. So November, especially when the kids were little, it's kind of like, it was kind of hard to manage. And even though my dad was a truck driver, he would stay out months at a time in the early part of his career. He was always home for Thanksgiving and Christmas, without fail. There was never like, oh man, Dad's not here for Thanksgiving. You know, there was never, ever one of those years. And I think that in my 10-year career, I've only worked 2 Thanksgivings. Where I was actually not there on Thursday, you know. And then I've never, knock on wood, worked at Christmas. So, now, with that being said, as a business owner, if someone wants to pay me an outrageous amount of money, I'll work over Christmas. You know, but it has to be an amazing, well, I can't believe you're paying this type money, right? Enough that I could actually probably head home if I had to. I backed into a reserve spot and almost forgot to pay for the spot. Only 4 left when I remembered. Oh yeah, don't do that. Old ZZ Top status right there. Thank you. John Armstrong, Dice Man. You stay out 6 weeks at a time? Is that by choice, or is that because that's how your company's set up, Pat? I don't want to diet. I've braided it though. I'm back. You probably never noticed I was gone. You need a little more lighting and makeup. Thank you. I don't know why you want to see this any better than you do, John. Had breakfast with your favorite bearded driver and his wonderful wife Sunday. Okay. All right, Doppler, thank you. Did you, Trucker Stable? I need to call him and see how he's doing. Oh, did you? Okay. Seemed pretty put together to me. Red River, I appreciate that compliment. In many ways, I've mastered a few things. But, you know, if you compare myself to me 20 years ago, I'm definitely a little bit more, I don't know, evolved, I guess. But what's that saying in Convoy, you know, why was he called Rubber Duck? Because underneath. And that's kind of what I try to do. I don't get upset over little things. And it doesn't really help to get upset over the big things, you know. Do I curse in traffic? Yeah. Do I go off on somebody if I thought that they've said something to me or done me wrong? Yeah, but after a while I get over it, you know, and everything's good. You're so much farther along than I am. Hell, I lost everything after my cancer. Well, John, you know, you defeated cancer, so that is more than what most people get. Nothing witty is in the house. Stock market so sketchy. Yeah, John, it is. No, I know that they were literally just like 2 or 3 inspections away. Thomas Wilson's the one that gave me $20. Thank you. Thank you very much, Thomas. The last 6 loads I pulled have been direct ship loads, and the rates are better than the experience dealing with the agent is better. Right. You know, they know how to sell. You know, they got skin in the game. Oh boy, here we go. I used to be a self-serve truck wash. Took a while, but nothing got broken. The problem with the self-serves is that I just wasted $20. You know, it's like, you know, I'd rather pay the 60 or whatever and have a pro do it. Trucking Nomads, what's up? Sorry I didn't know you were live, otherwise I would have held mine off. That's right, Trucking Nomad. I don't think I would take anybody from your crowd. I hope we all evolve into better people. Some people it takes longer, but watching your videos, you seem on course to me. Well, I appreciate that, Red River. You know, I was talking to my wife earlier today about, she has a family member that literally did not acquire an inheritance of some sort, you know, something to do with passing down, right? And he's completely dissed the entire family over this. And this was like well over 10 years ago. Still holding a grudge. And he's willing to give up family over material things that he thought that he deserved. Okay? And the ironic part is that he's a Christian book writer. You know, and it's like, I have learned that there's so many things that people die over and argue over and fight over that have absolutely no meaning in the deeper scheme of things. Think about this person's lost 10 years of family events, 10 years of holidays, 10 years of close-knit family stuff over material things that he thought that he deserved. And it's kind of a sad existence, you know, because and I was telling my wife, I get it, you know, my sister ended up with my dad's boat, and my mom, you know, took my dad's pickup that I thought I was going to get and traded it in and whatever, and it kind of bummed me out. I think for a minute I held a grudge, but then after a while I was like, you know what, they're just material things. It don't mean anything. You know, my spirit of my dad lives inside me, you know. Why taint a memory with BS, right? And so I got over it. You know, it turns out that I probably wouldn't have been able to afford to keep up the boat, and it would have just went to waste because we never had any time. I've never taken my kids fishing, and that is a huge regret to me. You know, now they're sold, they don't care, you know. I mean, well, at least one of them doesn't. You know, the other one probably would do it, but you know, it's rusty, and I haven't touched a fishing pole, and we all have regrets. We all have our weaknesses. We all have our demons, you know. I was talking to another friend of mine about demons. We all have demons. We all have things that we're fighting, you know. And this YouTube thing was kind of therapeutic, you know. And I don't know, victim mentality doesn't do good. I've learned that. I've written songs about that. At least once a week. There you go. Hope we all evolve into better people. I think I read that. Pale Rider says he needs a truck wash. But anyways, I thought I'd talk about that for a minute. It's been 40 minutes, Steve. Let me do it. Oh wait, here's a long comment. Some people act petty over the simplest things and didn't know how old they were. You swear they were 10. Makes me how I got a CDL, much less buy a truck, right? Do a marathon like Blackbeard's. James Best did a marathon. James Best is the best at marathons. And he's gonna watch this with a smile. Let me make a text here. If you situation here. We'll see if this follows through. You know, Trucker Stable, I think that's kind of a reaction now. It's like, okay, so we're going to have a special guest call in, and hopefully we can hear you guys hear it. We're going to have a special guest call in for tonight. But there will not be any 4 or 5 hour live feeds like Blackbeard or Best. Hell, even Jeff has been doing some live feeds here lately. He's taking forever to call. choice. Oh, here we go. Hello? Who we got on the line?
Who you wanted to be?
What?
Who you wanted to be?
Who do I want to be? You need to be louder. I don't know why you're not louder. I got you on speakerphone.
There we go. I got you.
There you are. Can you guys hear I've got the infamous Pale Rider. Can you guys hear Pale Rider? Pale Rider, you gotta say something.
Well, I'm trying to turn your live stream down there.
Oh yeah, we don't want to be one of those guys.
Alright, there we go. Got it. Yeah. What's up?
Not much. Hey, I was gonna give you a suggestion, Pale Rider. I was watching your Joplin video, and I understand that you're old school and you're a veteran of the trucking industry, and you're a veteran. Thank you for your service and all that. But you were typing into that kiosk over at the Petro, and anybody who's ever typed their phone number in that kiosk knows that it's a pain in the butt, and you're like, hitting it 58 times, right, just to click one number. And if you would use the app, you could have been in the shower 5 minutes ago.
But if I'd have used the app, then I wouldn't be able to do a video on it. I wouldn't be able to be in the video.
Well, sure you can. You just like, here I am at the Petro, and you go click, 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 look how easy that is, and then you go in. That would have saved like a minute off your video.
Yeah. You youngsters in your technology.
Trust me, and then you get the shower number right there, text it to your phone, and then so you're not like looking at the stupid TV screen. You're just like, and I've literally bypassed people that were in line when we did that kiosk. So
yeah, I guess you're right.
Just the cat skill.
Boring video. My videos are already boring enough, so since I'm so irrelevant on YouTube anymore.
How many people in here think that Pale Rider is irrelevant? Come on, give me a thumbs up if you think that Pale Rider is still a cool dude. I mean, you got twice as many subs as I do, and your views are pretty good. So I mean, you can't down yourself. You can't put yourself down like I do, Pale Rider. I'm the one who fell asleep trying to edit his own vlog the other day. I mean, come on.
It's in the analytics. Gotta look at my analytics, man. My numbers are way down. So
I think some of that's YouTube. It's like, I think that people got tired of us trucking YouTubers, and we all got kind of lumped in. Charlie Jim kind of talked about that, and I think that things are starting to come back. You got some, there's kind of a positive movement, which you've kind of helped spearhead, and I think that you're a big part of the positive trucking YouTubers out here. So I mean, you got to give yourself credit. I mean, and you've been doing this a long time. What's the date of your first video? Do you know?
February 2010, I believe. Well, that's when I started the Pale Rider TV channel. I had a couple channels before that, back in 2008, 2009, or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. See, so you had a lot of people giving you a thumbs up that you're a good, vlogger.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I think that, I was talking to a friend of mine about this earlier too. I think that we get in ruts, and I think that, like, I know I'm kind of bored with what I do as far as my actual vlogs, not this live stuff, but and now in the morning coffee thoughts, that's just like if I get inspired, right? and I haven't been inspired lately. So that's why I don't put a set schedule. I'm not going to do them like because then you're kind of forcing. But I think that you're a positive force, and I think that if you can get I understand about creative rut. Trust me, I'm a musician and a vlogger, and so I get it. And like I kind of critique my own vlogs and what can I do to change it. And maybe I can imitate this and imitate that. And I think that don't be so hard on yourself and don't expect too much. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Perfect sense. Perfect sense.
Michael says,
Coach, you're funny.
Michael said, yeah, you can read Michael's comment. We're working on positive. And let's get this straight. So being positive doesn't mean that we're going to sit here and paint that everything's all rainbows and unicorns. I think people respect honesty a lot more than like being completely negative all the time and being completely positive all the time. You got to be real. And if I see something wrong, I'm going to mention it. If I see something wrong with myself, I mention it. I want to improve on myself. So, I realize that my vlogs, everything, like being an owner operator, being a truck driver, but you shouldn't put yourself down because you are a big part of this positive movement that is going around with some of these youngsters.
Well, I think me and you talked about this back in the Giant Gats fiasco back a couple years ago. How we were always going to keep our videos positive. And me and a few other ones I've always done. Try to keep most of our videos positive, and now all of a sudden it seems to be a trend to keep positive videos, and it's nothing new. It's always been out there. So anything here in the last couple months or so is positive videos have always been out there. You got to search for them. You got to look for them if you don't see them. And I think I talked to you earlier today about this. That's about as far as I want to say about all that stuff.
I think that the whole trend thing that you're talking about, if I think that's the backlash of all the negative stuff that's happened lately. There's I don't know, it's just us YouTubers are narcissistic. We're narcissistic, guys and gals, and I think that sometimes we forget that there's other YouTubers that are doing the same thing, that have always been doing the same thing. They're just not on anybody's radar because they're not. It's not like you and I go out there and create waves. You know what I mean? So now there was a person that left a comment on one of my videos that he was going to take my channel down, like William Worthington's, like he took William Worthington's channel down, and it's like, why? What did I do? It's like I don't understand. And the comment can be found. I can't find that comment. I don't know if a person took it out or if a moderator took it out or what, but I think that I don't know. It's just like any other social platform, So, but I understand your frustration because you've been saying the same message for the last 9 years, and you've done your share of funny videos, like Angry Trucker and and I think the only negative thing you've ever done was the pet peeve stuff, but a lot of people can relate to that. It is a pet peeve if people are in a fuel island. It is a pet peeve if, someone's parked in front of you at the truck stop wrong or something, because, it makes it harder for you to get out, stuff like that. And that slurry, I've dealt with that slurry that you've grabbed prior, yeah. I've dealt with that slurry as well. So, and remind me the next time I see you, I've got these booties, that big, so you can deal with your slurry. Yeah, it keeps your shoes from not being mudded.
Thing is coming from, because all the here, you know, the drama here went, or not here, but it went to a whole new extreme with all the drama channels, and I think people are going to go to jail. Well, you know what happened to me, and what happened to a couple of the other YouTubers, and all those guys are not even on YouTube anymore. So I was thinking, you know, it's time for us smaller channels. It's time for us to rise up and, you know, do stuff. Keep the positive stuff going like we've been doing. And,
hey, Pale Rider, can I mention what you let me hear the other day?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, what a lot of people don't realize is that Pale Rider acquired the audio from his swatting incident. And he played it for me, and I believe Daniel Adami. And it was creepy. It kind of freaked me out. And because the first time you listen to it, it kind of shocks you. Then the second time you listen to it, you're like, okay, see if we can recognize that voice. And that's a double-edged sword, you know, the social media and what that created, because whoever did that to Pale Rider with that phone call was out to hurt Pale Rider. It was not a prank. It was not a like, haha, let's send a pizza. It was a full-blown, we know the cops are going to go in there full guns blazing. That was how that phone call went. And why? What has Pale Rider done to anybody? I know that there's a YouTuber that blamed him for their own issues, but whoever made that phone call was out for blood. It was not a prank. It was a full-blown, let's hope this dude gets shot kind of swatting, in my opinion. And it was really creepy to hear. I've listened to it several times, and it's man, it's bad. Any thoughts on that, Pale Rider?
Yeah, it was pretty creepy, that's for sure. It shook me up when I heard it. I was thinking, well, what the heck? You know, I never. Somebody did that to me. What the heck did I do to somebody? Well, I don't know what to say. I can't blame anybody for doing it or accuse anybody of doing it, or if it was somebody getting back at me for something that might happen, or if it was just something to throw the attention off of them, or put it on somebody else to make it look like they did the swatting. You understand what I'm saying? Am I making sense?
Yeah, I understand completely. Okay. Let's read some comments here. Don't be afraid to get outside your known creative zone and try something different. Zip tie a GoPro to your grill and zip tie. GoPro on the headstock of my guitar. I've thought about doing that. Be real, be yourself, yet also don't see YouTube as a competition, see it as an area to help each other. There you go. Like your channel, no drama. The struggle to try to find and come up with something new brings us back to something old, if that makes any sense. It's like that. It's like what's...
Hold on, Stroll. Let me reply to Michael there.
Okay.
See it as an area to help each other. We've just been doing that when I first started with Tex and all them other them guys back in the day. We always did that stuff. You know, we used to make collaboration videos, all that stuff. None of that stuff happens anymore. It's kind of strange, but you know, it's always, we've always helped each other out. Here lately, it's, you know, not so much as it used to be. I continue, sorry.
No, I see what you're saying. I mean, I've built my channel off of you. I mean, if you go back and type in Pale Rider Snowboard in the Google search or YouTube search, I've done a ton of videos with your name on it. You know, I've ridden your coattails. You know, and I remember the first day we met. We were at the Choctaw Casino, and you were doing this series called Coffee with the Trucker. And that was when we first met. I was driving my brand new company T680 and back next to you, and we chatted for quite a while, and you know, we've been friends ever since. It's been great because I looked up to you because at that time you had completed your first lease, and I was, you know, and I was getting ready to enter the owner operator world, and so we met up like not too long after that when after I bought my truck, and I hung out with you and Ponzi at the Rockwall TA, and I was really interested in your opinion on my truck when I bought it and everything else, and I was pretty proud of that moment, and that another owner operator who's been successful, you know, was taking a look at my stuff, and you know, and he bought me lunch that day, I believe, too, right? And you know, and we've been friends ever since, and we've always tried to help each other out. You were there for a very dark time for me, and you know that you can count on me for anything, right? Positive place, man, it really can. And it's sad that it can also create some bad things, you know. What if someone actually does take my channel out, you know? How does that help anybody, you know? So, you know, I'm a firm believer, if you don't like a certain YouTuber, don't watch them, you know? And if you do watch them, you can't complain about them, and, you know, like, oh, so-and-so makes me so furious every time I watch one of those videos. It's like, stop watching, you know, so.
That's what I do. You know, sometimes I get in that rut where I see somebody and I say, what the hell? Or what the heck? You know, they get all these views all of a sudden, and they have all these subscribers that, you know, pass me and everything. I get in a rut and I get depressed, and I say, how the heck was it? I just unsubscribe from them and keep on doing what I'm doing. That solves that problem.
Right. Michael says there's little cliques that work together, but those cliques could work with the other groups too. We can get back to those types of things. I think we are, to a certain extent. I mean, there's a lot of YouTube truckers that don't know who I am, and don't know who Pale Rider is. They don't know who, and they're not doing anything different or extraordinary that any of us are doing. They're just part of different circles, you know.
Right. Yep.
I've always been a live and let live guy, you know. I mean, I've had my issues with other YouTubers, you know, trust me, I have, but you know, it's I don't linger in it. I don't dwell on it. I don't build my channel off of it, and I don't know, Pale Rider never has either, you know.
Yeah.
Daniel Anami says Pale Rider TV Trucking did not buy me dinner the first time we met all those years ago. Daniel, you want some cheese with that wine?
Daniel's crazy.
You do not make anyone hit the play button, right? Kevin and Ollie, new truck friendly amp fun. There you go. Kevin and Ollie were talking about creative stuff, you know, because Kevin's got a guitar in the truck. Kevin's got it made, right? Let's do some positivity here. Kevin has been through some tough times, but he's got it made because he's got a good truck. He's with a good company. He's got a good dog with him in the truck again, and he's got a guitar. I mean, he has everything he needs.
Yeah.
I mean, if you got a truck that's running good, and you've got a good dog and a good guitar, what else you need? You know?
What else?
No. And the best part about all of that, he lives in Springfield too, so he's living in the most number one coolest area ever. So there you go.
4 out of 5 ain't bad. I'm
Right?
sorry you live in Springfield, Kevin.
Oh, please.
Shots fired.
Mm.
That'd be 7 years ago. It was a long time. I think I was still in the old black International. That's how long ago that was.
Wow. Well, that's when we met. You were in the Black International when we met.
Yeah.
And then you got the blue one, which, by the way, Pale Rider has a 2009 Cummins powered International Pro Star for sale. It's got super singles and it's got 1.2 million miles on it.
Yeah, something in that area.
And you could probably get a really good deal on it. If you're mechanically inclined, you could probably do some stuff with it. And 2009 means it does not require DEF fluid, so it could save you money. And also be easy to delete. Hint, hint.
Yeah, that's what a mechanic told me over there. He's talking about buying it. Yeah, that things are easy to delete. So, all right, we'll buy it and delete it then.
Until May, what, are you gonna move, Kevin? Are you already gonna move? Jeez. I would hate to run the spot market living in Florida. I know that'd be a challenge and a half.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
You probably see my latest love disaster. It's up to us creators to try and translate the positive message in any manner, even if we have to try to change the meaning of negative words. There you go. I can respond on here now. St. Louis area. I feel you. St. Louis is good. St. Louis is good. Much better than, you make some money out of St. Louis, that's for sure. You can respond on here now, says GNC. Good evening, Monsieur Lord. Where are you hiding tonight? I don't want to get swatted, so I'm somewhere in Oklahoma.
We're doing live streams now, not being able to put out their location. I don't blame you. I don't do it anymore either on my live streams. So you never know. You just never know.
Yeah, I think YouTube truckers kind of get a bad rap anyways. Like, I think a lot of people see us as like, really, you're full of yourself so much that you think that you can talk to the camera and you think people are going to watch you and all you're doing is talk about the same crap that we talk about on the TA counter, and I get that. There was a person that had said there's a difference between, he had a t-shirt, and I've seen the t-shirt in person. There's a difference between YouTube truckers and truckers on YouTube. And I thought that was interesting. I did not go up and talk to that person with that t-shirt. So I'm like, I bet you he doesn't like me. But I don't blame him. So.
Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy, but I'm here. As long as I'm not here in this truck riding the roads, I'll be making the videos.
When do you plan on retiring there, Mr. Pale Rider?
Probably when that long black limousine, station wagon type vehicle comes picks me up. That's probably when I retire.
If my winter video comes out, I'll have a hearse in there. There's a hearse that I passed in bad weather. I'm like, I don't think there was a funeral procession, but
Need to upload it, man. Need to upload it.
Well, I still got to edit. There's a lot of night shots, and these GoPros kind of are lame for night shots.
Yeah.
I'm a trucker on YouTube, not a pro at all, just having fun and meeting new people. So the trucker stable.
Of course, trucker stable. You come in again to see it. I didn't see it. Scroll back. Well, he said I'm the easiest over there. This struggle truckers and content, especially in our niche, because how many times are you going to have a video how to slide in tandems? How many videos are on YouTube to do that? You're hooking up to a trailer. I don't know how many videos I haven't dropped in. Probably 300 out of my library, so it's hard to find new content out here.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely feel you. I mean, I've done the videos about my right way, and then the video coming out of Mobile, Alabama. I really kind of wish I had the camera rolling when I first. I mean, I actually got lost in a way that like I had Google Maps going, I had the Garmin's going, and one of the things that people need to realize about truck GPS is that if it wants to avoid a non-truck route, it will take you on a worse road, any port in a storm. That it turns into any port in a storm mode, and it will take you down a gravel road to get you down the correct road. And a perfect example is there's a paper plant in Fort Smith, Arkansas. And I did a video on this on my old channel. I had the device in my hand, the camera in my hand showing the GPS. 2000, no, it's when I was a company driver still, so it was before the handheld device law, but still nonetheless, right? So it was taking me down roads that led to trees because it thought that it crossed over to the next road to avoid a road that was clearly marked that it was the truck route. It had the truck route or the non-truck route like a block off, and it screwed it all up. And that was part of the problem with my issue with Mobile, Alabama. But
youngsters and your GPSs.
Mel, everything failed on me. My planning, my instructions, calling the shipper, the GPSs, everything. Now, car would have taken like 5 minutes, right? But it didn't help that there was a funeral in the area, so there was extra traffic that wasn't usually there, parked on the sides of the road. And I've been in some hairy situations in Chicago and Shreveport, and it would have been a good lesson, I think, in the beginning. But I'm sure there are people that watch my video like, I drive the Bronx every day. You don't know what you're doing, And then you got the people like, oh man, I barely do 2 turns off the interstate. I can't believe we went through that. So it's all a matter of perception,
You made a good point in that video. Don't panic, no matter how bad the situation is. If you're do not panic, because we know what happens when you panic. We've seen the videos.
Yep.
Stop, calm down, get your wits together, and think of how you're going to get out of the situation.
Yep. Yeah.
Good advice, Lord.
Well, I've been at that point. One of the early stories I remember, I was in Shreveport and I took a wrong turn, and suddenly I was in a construction zone on a regular, just normal city street. The problem is that they had these metal delineators because they're repaving the sides, and so you're basically on this raised up path, and they had delineators to keep you from going off into because it was a pretty far ledge. The problem with these delineators is that you couldn't make a turn. I couldn't do a left turn or right turn, so I ended up having to find a side road that had a left turning lane so I can utilize it. But there were times when I almost tried to make my turn, I couldn't, so I had to back up, and I was kind of freaking out to the point that I'm just going to go for it and just take out this delineator, but I didn't, and I ended up backing just to back up, and then I found a Home Depot. And I was able to turn around in there, and then I had to finagle my way back out. And by the time I was done, I was like, shaking. And when I was a trainer, I would tell these guys, you're always going to have a point where you're going to lose your cool, and it's normal, So it's and neighborhood I was in the other day. Not at all. If I had like one of those special customized bumpers or a 300 wheelbase, there was no way I would have been able to make the delivery at all. I mean, it would have been like, you're gonna have to come get it, or I would have had to hire somebody with a day cab to pull my trailer into the lot. You know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, but you got it in there, you kept it calm, didn't tear anything up, and that's the way to do it.
What do you mean? I tore a lot of trees up.
Oh well, that's just stupid trees. Just open to grow where they're on road. But, you know, you panic, you start making stupid mistakes, doing stuff you normally wouldn't do, like you said, you end up tearing something up, hitting a car, or ended up in a ditch or something, you know, or popping out your trailer. So, you guys go, Lord.
Well, I appreciate that, and you know, I had a similar moment like that just last year in the middle of Jessup, Maryland. So the first time I had ever experienced Chicago, I didn't even go through Chicago with my dad. First time I ever experienced Chicago, I got lost in a village, 5-ton limit, no truck road, and it was something similar, but yet I couldn't drive on any curbs or people's yards because there was cars on each side of the road. So it was a matter of trying to find where I could turn that wasn't a one-way street where the cars were cleared, and for GPS. So you know, you can't blame it on that. And after that, I used to get anxiety when I was given a load going into Chicago, and I called a friend of mine, and he was like, "Oh, I'm in Chicago all the time." And so I told him what areas, you know, because I had a 3-stop pickup, and I was like shaking about it, right? He goes, "Look, what's the worst that can happen? You go up to a 12-7 bridge, you stop, you set the brakes, put your four-ways on, call the cops. Hey, I need help."
Right.
And he calmed me down. He made some jokes. He calmed me down, and he told me about some of the scenarios that he was in that made me feel better. And then that's kind of one of the other things that YouTube can do is, like, maybe someone's going through a situation right now, and if they know that someone else has gone through the same situation, they can help relate. You know, that's kind of why I was into metal music, because I read the lyrics to some of these bands. It was almost like they were reading my mind. You know, it's almost like the song was written for me. And I think YouTube can be kind of the same way. It's like, wow, this person has dealt with the same things I've dealt with, and I react the same way. So wow, I'm not weird, or I'm not bizarre, I'm not inferior, you know. And I think that's one of the positive things we can do as YouTubers is to show people that you're not alone, you know, and teach etiquette. You know, there are ways to tell people that it's not kosher to do your 30-minute breaks in the fuel island. You know, there's a right way to do that and a wrong way to do that, you know, and I think that I truly believe that I think that the industry is going to see some hard times coming up. You know, we've got an election year coming up, so like just the atmosphere is going to be more volatile. You're going to have more people stealing fuel. You're going to have more trucks being repoed. You're going to have, you know, I think that 2020 is going to be kind of an interesting year for all of us. You know, that's just my opinion, though. I'm no expert.
Yeah, very possible. I'll be honest.
I don't remember GNC if you're talking about Fort Smith. I had a problem like that. I had a problem like that when I was in Chester, Pennsylvania. Friday afternoon, I had to be diverted to construction to get back on the interstate. Yeah, I appreciate that, Michael.
A lot of comments, man. You're missing a lot of comments.
Am I? I'm lame.
You gotta scroll up.
Little Viking coach says that's crazy. Yeah, Pale Rider, you've rubbed off on me. I think I said that's crazy in the video like 83 times. So.
Yeah, I did. I guess I was saying that quite often. I didn't realize it until Blackbeard brought it up. I said, dang, you're right. I did say that. I think one video I shot, a vlog or something, and I think I edited out every one of them.
I know I'm really bad at saying, like if I get riled up, like someone ticks me off on YouTube, I'm like, and I'm fun of a couple of friends of mine that do the all the time, right?
Yeah, I try not to do the it's hard to not say it. I try not to say that.
And one of my pet peeves of YouTubers, trucking or not trucking, and I'm gonna get to a couple of comments I saw, is people that go, so I'm sitting here in, New York City. It's like gross, man. Don't do a video if you got a cold, right?
You know what my pet peeve is about YouTubers? The first thing they say, hello YouTube.
I say YouTubes. I think it's awesome.
I cringe when I hear, hello YouTube.
Doppler distortion, which I figured out who it is now. You have never slid tandems. You have never slid tandems the way I used to, though. Orion's secret tandem slide recipe. Michael says, the reason I didn't think of including Pale Rider on my series is because he's a great guy, and after all he's already been through recently, I assume he originally may not be good with it. I need to go back and see what you're talking about, Michael.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. He's been doing some kind of series. I think he's doing reverse exposing or something.
Reverse?
Not exposing people for the bad. Trying to show the good in them. I think I could be wrong about that.
Okay, well, I think I'm
not sure.
I think I'm subscribed to Michael.
I think he said he left, so he can't come back and answer.
All right, well, Pale Rider, we've been at this for an hour and 21. I know you had a couple of things to say, so.
Wait a minute. You have been in it for an hour and 21 minutes. I haven't. I only been out here for 10 minutes.
No, it's not been 10 minutes.
I'm just picking on this Lord.
Whatever.
I come back with your morning coffee thoughts, because I need my morning Steve-spiration.
Steve-spiration.
Yeah. Good time. Aroma candles and get my coffee and just chill out. Yeah, Steve-spiration.
Chucky says, I thought you were going to say something about headsets.
Yeah, that's not well. Yeah.
I think I've appeared in a couple of videos with my headset on. But...
Yeah, I think I had too. But I try to take it off when I'm on camera. But you know my pet peeve about people wearing their headsets constantly, 24/7. Take the stupid thing off in the truck. Leave it in the truck. You'll be eating in a restaurant, talking on their headset, eating at the same time while you're eating dinner. Come on.
Hey, a friend of mine once said that you should never answer the phone while eating, because he had just sat down for a big meal, had a rough week, and was all like, okay, waitress literally brought his food when his phone rang, and he answered the phone. He found out his dad passed away.
Wow.
And the crummy part of the restaurant, I just found this out, and I can't eat this. Can I get a refund? And they're like, no, they can't. So like, wow. But so I learned that while I do bring my phone in with me when I go eat in the restaurant, I don't answer it unless I'm waiting for a certain phone call.
Right.
But if I'm if like I'm waiting on a broker to tell me yeah or nay on a Raycon or something like that. But food for thought. I found out my uncle passed away while I was eating. Well, not while I was eating, but I got the phone call, and I knew what the phone call was because this is my cousin. She never calls, unless it was something drastic like that. So I got me a Blue Tiger headset so I could be just like Big Houston.
Big Houston.
But anyways, I'm wearing my headset. See, the thing with these, I love my Plantronics, really do. However, I've never been the guy that can wear a headset for 4 hours straight. I never, you know, I
Yeah.
can't do it. You know, and those of you who've been talking to me lately, you know, you get the hold on a minute because I gotta get my headset turned on. You know, so
Yeah, this thing,
put it on
especially now we're
speaker.
hanging out on Zillow a whole lot. I'll be wearing my headset almost all day, especially if you're going on Zillow. You know, it's like, man, I can take this thing off for a while. Hurt my ear, hurt my head.
Yeah.
Chill out.
It's worse if you got glasses. You know, I wear glasses while driving, and I know you do. So it's an audience here.
Dang. Everybody, well, when I came on, everybody left. That's part of it. Obviously.
Well, we're competing with Monday Night Football and Truckers Coach TV.
Oh, okay. Well, that explains it. Thanks for having me on. You gave me a little ranting session. I really didn't get into it much, but still got that off my chest. I appreciate that. And all us YouTube truckers, this is our time to shine. Let's keep it positive and do your thing. Yeah, let's help each other out. And more. Thank you, Snorlord.
You're welcome. Have a good night, Pale Rider.
Thank you. Bye.
So there it is. There's the infamous Pale Rider. And thanks if you've made it this far. Thank you for watching. I appreciate the super chats, Daniel and Thomas Wilson. And until next time.